Yeah, it's followed me around a little bit.
Has it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice, Garry. Yeah, it has.
Have you ever copped a fine for?
I was about to say, I'd hate to think what I'm at.
Yeah.
It would have to be north of 50,000.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Have to be. I always put out my best performances in those
Yeah.
stages, which is really
high
weird.
pressure.
But it's a bit like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to go and I'm going to play. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Have an emergency situation unfolding at the Sydney Cricket Ground where Phil Hughes has been struck with a high ball.
Saw him on the stretcher and it rattled me. I knew that wasn't normal. Yeah, that's not right.
Well, Dos, what a spot, mate. We're at Ninja Stadium here in Hobart. We've never had a set quite like this, and I think there's no better occasion with a very special guest, King of Tasmania, Matthew Wade. Welcome to the dos&d show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Mate, we're very, very excited to have you here. And you're sitting in front of the BBL trophy, which is very, very famous, of course, in this part of the world. And as we look out onto the Oval, what memories do you have of that famous night?
Yeah, fond ones. It was a great night for all the individuals involved. Like, it was a slow build up to that point. We always had a decent list and we're getting hammered for not winning, to be honest. So I gave up the captaincy a few years before that and the boys started to get a bit of a roll on, and yeah, it was just like, felt like it was a good reward for the 5 years that we put in. But like, packed stadium, chanting Mitchy Owen's name is probably the first memory that comes to mind. And then having family and friends here, it's pretty cool for a Tasmanian boy to be able to deliver the Hurricanes the first BBL title was an experience I'll never forget.
Yeah.
Has it been a nice change, I guess, since retiring from international cricket, being now, you know, your sole place back home in Tassie with your friends and family?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the 8 years has been at the right time for me. I did 10 years in Melbourne and loved every minute of it. Being a young man in Melbourne with no kids is certainly something that I'd advise people to go and do. It's an experience in itself. So that was really fun. And then, yeah, once we had winter, and I always wanted to get back to Hobart. It was always in the back of my mind that I wanted, like, you can take the boy out of Hobart, you can't take the Hobart out of boys. So I wanted to get back to Tassie, Hobart, and with having our first daughter, it was just the right time with family, and I'd started playing full-time internationally again for Australia, so I was away quite a lot, and to leave Julia and Winter at home by themselves, it just felt like the right time. And yeah, I've loved being back here. It's just things line up for some reason, and that happened here.
Because you left at 18? Was that when you probably came across to Melbourne and that whole experience? Maybe what was that like as a kid? Or you're still so young?
I'd done a couple of the cricket academies, which was a really good experience when you used to go to Brisbane. You used to go there for like 4 months in a row with like a heap of young guys. So it kind of Australian under-19s into a couple of years in Brisbane doing the academy kind of set me up for being away. Before that, I didn't even know how to cook or wash or do any of the stuff that you're supposed to know how to do. I lived at home, pretty comfy life. So yeah, those 2 years set me up, and then got the opportunity through Greg Shippard to come to Melbourne and play straight away. He basically guaranteed me a spot straight in the team, and Tassie had just won their first Sheffield Shield title, funny enough, and I wasn't any chance of getting a game there. So I spoke to my old man, and he kind of echoed those words. He's like, home's always going to be here. Go and have a crack and see what happens. And yeah, it was the best decision I'd made for my career for sure. I managed to get in the Australian team a few years later, and the rest is kind of history, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to touch on a lot of different points of your career. There's so much to chat to you about, mate. We're really, really excited. But as we find you now in late April, what does your life look like in the off season?
Pretty chilled now. Yeah, for the first time in a long time. Like, usually I'd do IPL. The last 6 years I've done IPL, which is an experience, and dragging 3 young kids to India and traveling around India is certainly hard work. So I did 3 years as a player and coached last year there. So I knocked that back and wanted to strip it back a little bit more this year and spend some more time at home. So I'm living somewhat of a normal life, I suppose you call it, Monday to Friday, and then I'm playing footy on the weekends and dealing with school holidays is always fun. We're in school holidays now, so that's why I agreed to do the podcast. Actually, no, I'm only joking. So no, it's been really cool to be home for a long period of time off the back of a year that I did, over 200 days on the road. Just to settle at home for a few months has been nice, and it'll start to ramp back up as the IPL comes to an end. All the international stuff will ramp up again, and things will start to happen on the coaching front, which is good.
Love it.
Something I know I'm super interested to hear about is the details of living in India and going over, spending, I didn't even think about it, but having 3 kids over there with you, that's a whole different challenge. But maybe share a bit about your first time going across, that first season, going to the IPL, and was it eye-opening going to heading over to India and living there for a period of time?
Yeah, I think the whole international travel thing is an
Yeah.
experience as a young man. But I experienced my first IPL when I was 19. I might have been a little bit older. 2021, I went to Delhi with Greg Shippard's team. He got me there as a young man, and I kind of, eyes wide open, just got over there. And I can't really remember too much about that experience. Just getting to India is one thing. But yeah, it's certainly eye-opening, culturally completely different to what we're used to. Food, all the challenges that come along with travel and heat and all those kind of things as a player is something that I experienced really early on and played international cricket in there. So I adapted pretty quickly to that. And then I had a 11-year break before I got another opportunity, which was off the back of the World Cup in 21. I managed to get picked up, and as you said, going over there as a more mature player with family was certainly, I really, really enjoyed it. Kind of immersed myself a little bit more in the culture. Got away from just performance and really just, you got to take it all in India because it can eat you up. There's not much.
Well, they love it over there, don't they?
They love it so much, and there's just no downtime for cricketers, to be honest. To get out of hotels, to go for dinner, to go for a shop it's really difficult, challenging logistically to get around because they're cricket mad. They see a cricketer, they want to meet a cricketer. They'll almost rush you at malls and stuff like that. You end up having 30, 40, 50 people following you around when you're there. So it's a challenge to get around and try and get some space from the actual game. So having a family makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
You can kind of park yourself at the hotel a bit more, bit of pool, bit of this, bit of that.
True.
And makes the time go a little bit faster. But it's something that everyone should go over and experience. Just an IPL game is something completely different. The team that I was at holds 120,000 and they're like packing 94,000 on a Wednesday afternoon, just in the middle of the day even. They'll get 70, 80,000. It's an insane experience, but so cool.
During your career, what's the pull like to, especially for the type of player you are, to actually go and chase money and set up your life beyond cricket versus maybe more local stuff or international stuff? What's it like balancing the pressure to go and get those contracts, like an IPL contract?
Yeah, I missed a lot of it, which was nice.
Yeah.
So that my first 3/4 of my career was, you played state cricket and you developed your skills up to play for Australia, and that's where you made your money and you got your experience, and it kind of went on from there. The guys now coming through, it's a big challenge. There's big dollars involved, and the international schedule's getting longer and longer, and then the IPL schedule's getting bigger. That's nearly 3 months of their time now, which is your time off essentially. You get your leave and you go to IPL and you're there for 3 months, and then as you've seen with in England the Indian teams, or they've franchised the teams to companies or to the Indian teams as well. So the opportunities to go around the world now, 12 months of the year are there, and that wasn't there for me. I experienced it at the back end of my career, and I struggled with it, to be honest. I grew up playing the sport for team success, and I would immerse myself in, judge myself on being able to contribute to team success. Whereas at times in the franchise game, it's very individualised. You're there, yes, you want to succeed as a team, but if you do well individually, you're getting big bucks to the next tournament, the next tournament. So it becomes a little bit more, I don't know, you put it like a bit more like golf, I suppose.
Yeah.
You get a little bit more individual within the competition rather than the real team aspects. And I know that franchise cricket are doing a better job every year. We're trying to keep teams together for 3 or 4 years to try and create a little bit of success. But certainly early days, you get yourself in an IPL franchise, you might be there for 3 or 4 weeks, and then you're gone the next year, you're with another team, and people jump around. So the challenge for younger players now, it's really, really hard, and it looks fancy on paper to be able to go and travel the world and make big money. But your reality is you're getting 3-week, 3-month contracts, and they're not guaranteed contracts the year after. You sign a 3-year deal, and it's on the team whether they renew you the following year. So performance becomes a big thing, pressure becomes a big thing, and I certainly don't envy the young player with the decisions that they've got to make now. It was a lot easier when I was coming through.
Like, just quickly on that, because there's talk now, I don't know how much this is rumour mill stuff, but Australia taking a similar model to actually franchises being bought out by companies or business people or whoever. Do you think that would be a positive direction to go for the league, or is it better the way it is?
I think we're going to have to at some stage.
Yeah.
When that happens, I'm not 100% sure. I know there's a lot of whispers around what's happening with the BBL, but we're going to get left behind at some stage.
Yeah.
You would think if we stay just as Australian franchises. The reality is you can't get players of high quality away from South Africa runs at almost the exact same time as BBL. There's T20 that's just before, and these are IPL or company-run businesses that have big money and are able to offer multi-year deals or around-the-world contracts. So it's really hard to get those high-end players. So I think the reality is we're probably going to have to at some stage. When the right time is, I'm not sure. But if we could attract, 5 or 6 of the top T20 players in the world, who's not going to want to come and watch that? I know you might get away from the Melbourne Stars or the Hobart Hurricanes. There'll be a different name, I'm sure. But to see the quality of player come and play in our comp will be a positive for everyone, for the fans and for the players playing in that competition.
Playing for your country, and it's something we've spoken about with other athletes, especially soccer. We've had a couple of Socceroos on the show, which has been great. But there's something about it, the patriotism of it, wearing the baggy green. Do you remember that first email or phone call that you got that you were actually going to be playing for Australia?
It's a good question. I don't think I actually can remember the first conversation that I had.
That would have been the goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it came. You kind of know as a player you're around the mark. Obviously, when you're not in the team, the press are pumping you up when you're a younger player trying to get into the team. So you're there or thereabouts. My opportunity come off the back of Brad Haddon not playing for Australia. He had a rest and I filled in for a couple of ODIs in Australia, which is a really nice way to do it. I kind of came in for a few games and then went out and he played the rest of the series. But to answer your question, I can't remember getting a call. I remember just the reality of the day. I debuted at the MCG, which is a really nice touch in front against India, funnily enough, and I opened the batting that day. So I remember the day really vividly. I debuted with Dan Christian, who was an opposition player that I had a lot of run-ins with for a lot of years, and then I played with him for Australia, and I ended up playing with him for a long time in Victoria as well following. But yeah, I remember the day really well, and speaking of Michael Clark and just little bits and pieces along the way like that. But the actual phone call, I can't really. Well, that was ODI cricket. I actually played T20s in South Africa before that. So that would have been another conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm getting old, man. I can't remember that far.
Do you think, what's the main difference between, I mean, this is probably a really, really stupid question, but the reality of playing international cricket versus, domestic cricket, just to level up and obviously the media coverage and everything that comes with it. What are some of the big eye-opening moments that you discovered when you break into the Australian team? Yeah,
the media scrutiny is obviously the big one. I think the thing that I struggle with, the level of cricket, I think you just always adapt to. So coming out of domestic cricket and going to international cricket, the standard, depending on what team, can be a big jump or it can level out a little bit. So I think, as your skills develop, you deal with that as it is. I didn't deal well with the travel at all.
Okay.
From a domestic player, you come from doing a season and then having 4 months off. So I was used to that kind of routine. I played a few Australia A's in between, but they'd be like 3-week tours, then you come home. So I had this real balance of playing and then getting in my own environment, whereas international cricket, the grind of being away, and certainly in those days, there was no resting or you're going to have this series off. So I went from a young cricketer having 4 months off to being on the road for over 250 days a year, and performance became a big thing. So you find yourself, I struggled to deal with go to the cricket ground, play, train, get home, sit in your hotel, think about cricket, get hammered by the media, go back to the ground. And that was kind of my reality for the first at least 6 months, because I kind of went from not being in the team to Hads was out of all formats, and I played all formats straight away, which I'm not sure was the right thing for me. I might have needed a slower build up, but I really struggled with that aspect of just, it was all cricket. It was cricket, cricket, and mental health side of the game was not around then. So to speak to someone about it and kind of work your way through the demands that it took was not there. So it took me a long time, and probably 6 or 7 years before I really started to get a grasp of what I was trying to achieve as an international player. But yeah, that was a real struggle as a young player.
Yeah.
Like you said, the mental health thing probably wasn't around back then. Later on, did you understand or work out that other younger players were probably dealing with similar things too?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. As a leader, you can kind of see the younger players, and I'm sure there's younger players now that are still going through that as they come through. And as a coach, it's something that you really need to keep an eye on. There's great support around the teams now that we can work with the players around that thing. And I think players are better at voicing it. I mean, that was probably my biggest struggle. Is like you said, as a young man, you're working your ass off to get a chance to play international cricket. And I got there, and then you get there, and 3 months later to put your hand up and say, I'm not really feeling this or I'm not enjoying it. That was just not there. The courage and for someone to put your hand up, and you felt like you were doing the wrong thing if you kind of did that. So I think the support system's so much better now. Players are able to put their hand up and not get judged, and they can deal with it away from the demands of the actual performance. But it was kind of a catch-22. You want to put your hand up and say, I'm struggling with this, but then you almost feel like you're doing the wrong thing by doing that in those days. So I would handle it certainly a lot better now, and you can see young players now that go from domestic cricket and then go on the road and play 12 months of the year. It takes a lot out of you, and you got to be ready for it.
It's interesting hearing you say that though, because you are known to be very boisterous and tough, and you know, a real kind of strong vibrato kind of nature. But hearing you say that, it's not always the case for I guess the strong tough leader at the front. You know, everyone kind of goes through similar things. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I struggled probably. Keeping wise was my thing. I really struggled the perception of perfection as a wicketkeeper. So as a keeper, you're expected performance-wise to take every catch, every stump in. And if you don't, you get nailed for it. Yeah. So I really struggled with this, like, I have to be perfect, overtrained to try and be perfect, in games make a mistake, and then get real down on myself. That goes to 2 mistakes. So I was kind of like, I struggled for that for 10 years, basically until I stopped keeping. So that was like something that I just found a way to deal with. It was almost like a performance anxiety thing. I just built it up in my own head more than probably what it needed to be. But then when I stopped keeping, I enjoyed the game so much more. Found times to switch off, found times to enjoy the game. Really backed myself as a player with the bat. But as a keeper, I had this real struggle with this person that was trying to be perfect in an imperfect game. So I wish I had noticed that earlier, but I just didn't. It took me way too long. I was 30 by the time I'd really given up keeping, and I've played for 12 years in. But yeah, that, like, the perception of that's what I was is something that I probably carried for a while as well.
I hope you're enjoying this episode with the great Matty Wade, but we've got to say thank you to CoinSpot.
Absolutely we do. CoinSpot is the #1 place for you to buy, sell and trade your cryptocurrency. Over 500 cryptocurrencies on their website, and you can buy Bitcoin for as little as $1.
Go and download that app today.
Back to the episode with Matty Wade. It's so brutal because, like, you make a mistake in a footy game, you can go and rectify it straight away. You make you miss out in the first innings, boom. Like now, media street. How do you go out, for example, in the second innings when you've missed out in the first and your spot might be on the line and you know there's the next bloke waiting, or you know the media storm, or you're playing for a contract? What's it like how do you possibly go out to the middle and get yourself in the right mindset to think more team focused rather than I need to make runs?
Yeah, I always pulled out my best performances in those stages, which is really weird.
Pressure.
But it's a bit like a fuck it effort. I'm just going to go and I'm going to play. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I struggled when I had something to lose, like when I just got in the team and I thought, oh, this is my chance, and I was squeezing the glue out of the bat, is what we say. Is like we're trying so hard to nail this spot down that when I got to that stage, I almost let go. I would just walk out, knew that it might be my last chance to play, and in those moments I always found a way to perform. Or if the team was 5 for 50, you walk out, you're like, I haven't got much to lose. The boys in front of me have shown that it's pretty hard work, and I could drag my own really good performances out at that stage when I could just let go of everything else. So
that's fascinating.
Yeah, but when I had when I always struggled when I was playing for Victoria, when we'd be 5 for 450, I walk out guaranteed no runs at all, because you're almost expectation is I'll pile 50 or 60 not out on here and I'll get some runs. I just never really scored in that way, but when the pressure was on or my spot was on the line, I found ways to find a way to get through those moments and pull my best performances out, and that happened so many times. Like the 21 was exactly like that. I was walking out to the wicket knowing, so the World Cup in 21 against Pakistan, we were dead and buried. And I was walking out to the wicket, I was like, well, this is going to be it. We're going to bomb out of the World Cup. I'm at the age where it's probably done. And then managed to pull performance out there, and then you're off to the races again. I play for another 6 or 7 years, and IPL, franchise, international for 4 years. It's like right at the moment where the door's about to close. I found a way to switch it on, and it's hard to explain why, but I think it was just that. I would just drop all the baggage and just let myself play.
Talk us through that, like that 2021 semi-final, that moment, the 3 sixes in a row. The pressure's on. Clearly you perform under that pressure, but maybe just on reflection, can you share a bit about that?
Yeah, I've spoken about it a little bit. when I walked to the wicket, I thought, you know, most people doing that, like people are lying if they think, oh, I'm going to walk to the wicket and we'll win this easy. We needed a lot, and we're in a lot of trouble. So I thought our chance of winning this is going to be low as I'm walking to the wicket. And then
How many runs did you need?
at that stage, we might have needed
Like early
100,
20s.
90, 100, yeah, like it was getting away from us. In the modern day, like now, you fast forward 8 years, you would get that in a heartbeat. But
Yeah.
like we're going back 5 or 6 years, the game moves so quick. It's
Yeah,
like I'm
nuts.
not sure we're going to get him. And Shadab Khan was bowling really, really well. He'd taken 3 or 4 wickets, and Stoinis was on strike. It was when you used to be able to cross, and that in-batter was on strike. So Maxwell had just switch hit, got caught on the boundary. Stoinis on strike. Shadab's got like 4 balls left in his spell, and I was like, well, we'll just see these out. And no one really talks about Stoin in this partnership, but he drove most of that partnership. First ball that I was out there, he hit Shadab Khan for 6 after we just lost the wicket, and that kind of triggered something in me. I was like, well, he thinks it's still on here, so I better switch on here and have a crack. So just a small moment like that just switches you on. And when I went down to him at the end of that over, you could just see it in Stoin's eyes. I'd played with him long enough, and I could see in his eyes that he was on. So I took like quite a lot, maybe 8 balls I'd faced for 8 runs in that innings, but I knew that I just had to stay with Stoin for a period of time, and then it kind of developed that we got to a stage where it was kind of like, well, left arm quick against the left arm batter, and I'd made the decision then that I thought Stoin would be able to get us to the victory. So same thing, effort, attitude. I was like, I'm going this over. We'll see what happens, and I managed to hit the middle of the batter. I got dropped actually. So that was another side. I got dropped the first ball I took on. That over, got dropped on the boundary, and then 3-6 in a row. Yeah, so crazy. But yeah, exact same situation. And Stoin, we had a great relation. We've got a great relationship, me and Stoin, and I could bounce off him in that innings, and he's the unsung hero in that. He tells me all the time. Don't worry.
Yeah. So from that incredible moment to another one of our favourite moments with you, mate, I think it was out here, and it was a test match against Sri Lanka, and Phil Hughes decided to put on the wicket-keeping gloves, and M. Wade came in, replacing Stark, and bowled at Sangakkara, which is quite amazing. So as you as a wicketkeeper to then give up the gloves because you needed to bowl, what happened that day?
Always fancy. Most keepers fancy himself with the ball. So Pup was at first or second slip, Michael Clark. So I was at him all day to get a bowl, and Pup was one of those captains. He didn't really care what people said too much. He was just like, if I feel it, I'll go it. So I don't know how. Me and Hughesy must have been into him for a period of time before that, I assume, that he said, you go. He used to call me Wados. He said, Wados, your top end.
That's my nickname.
Wados, your top end next over. And I was like, you know, when you're asking for something all the time, but then when it happens, you're like, oh, shit. What's going to happen here? That's kind of what happened. But more than my over, like, watching that footage with Hughesy with the gloves on is just priceless, because he fancied himself as a bit of a keeper, and he was not a good keeper at all. But he fancied himself a little bit the gloves, and he would have been into Pup to get an opportunity to keep as well. So it's priceless footage.
I love it. It's so funny because D actually showed me the footage right before you came in, and that's the best bit of it is Philip's laugh. Like he's just giggling his ass off, like putting the gloves on. Leadership is something I think I'd love to touch on. Yeah. You mentioned Pup. You've played under plenty of other strong leaders. Who are some of the who are like maybe 2 to 3 leaders that you played under? Maybe some of the key things you've learnt most for yourself now as a coach going into coaching.
Yeah, Michael Clark was the first captain I had, and he was the best player in the world at the time when I came in. And the thing that I loved about Pup's leadership is his conviction. Like, if he believed that he could make everyone believe that that's what was going to happen. And we had a young transitioning team at the time, so some really experienced players going out and some younger players in, and the conviction that he could speak with to say, this is what we're going to do, this is how it's going to happen, and this is the direction we're going to go. I really valued that as Pup as a leader, and he was great for me when I first came in. I know there was plenty going on externally, and with older players going out and younger players coming in, he would have been under a lot of pressure. But that's certainly something that I took out of Pup's leadership. Played plenty of cricket in Victoria early days under Cameron White, who was one of the best strategy captains I've ever seen on ground. Like, really? Would be able to, in terms of ahead of a game, especially a T20 game, he was 5 overs ahead of anyone else on the ground. So, I learnt a lot about strategy, field placements, who to bowlers to come on and when you'd bring them on through through that sort of thing. So I really valued, obviously, pup. It was more like off-field that I took a lot out of. Cameron was by far the best strategic tactic captain that I've ever had. And when I came down here, I had George when I came down here for the start, and then he just pulled the rug out and I ended up captaining, which was...
Yeah.
But I mean, before that I captained in Victoria, and I was not a very good captain as a young player. I was a brash player, emotional player, and that's how I got the best out of myself. So as a younger captain, I was probably on that scale, quite aggressive, quite brash, struggled to understand the other side, how people did it, and I thought the way that you did it was this way. So I had my ups and downs in Victoria as a young leader, but priceless to get put into that situation in a team that had, White, Hussey, Hodge, McDonald.
Wow.
Yeah, like stars. And then we had like a young Johnny Hastings, and later on a Stoinis and a Hanscom, and guys that Boland who came into the team later on. I'd early trying to deal with all those personalities. I was not equipped to do that while I'm on this journey of playing for Australia as well. But like going away, coming back is something that I had to navigate for a long period of time. And yeah, I'm really grateful that I got thrown into the deep end, because I learned so much about myself and about myself as a leader there. To come back here, I didn't want to captain at all. Back here, I spoke to Adam Griffiths when I came back here and said, I want to come back and play and become a better player. I was playing for Australia and I had no interest in captaining. And then, as I said before, George, halfway through the year, decided that he wasn't going to captain, and I ended up captaining for 6 years. But yeah, and then internationally, I had JL for a period of time. I had Mickey Arthur for a period of time, and I've Andrew McDonald now. So all really different leadership styles. Got along really well with Mickey Arthur. He was really good to me. JL, I learnt heaps off. He was probably more like me in my young captaincy days. He knew how to give a serve and a little bit more emotional.
Good on the lip.
Yeah, and then obviously Andrew McDonald, who I'm under now, who I'm learning an absolute ton off. And captains within that with Pat's an extraordinary captain. In a world where it's just chaos at international cricket at times, guys coming in, guys going away, media pressure, questions coming left, right, and centre. Pat he just calms the room so easy, and he's able to drag the things that he thinks are important for us to focus on as a team, drag them into the dressing room and live them every single day, and gets the best out of the players. You only have to look at some of the players that have just gone up since he's taken over. I mean, Travis Head's the obvious one since Pat's taken over, to be able to just say, just go and play, a bit like what I was saying, strip it all back yourself, go and play, we'll back you. Paddy's leadership is extraordinary. You see that in the IPL. He's just gone back, and they've just gone 5 games in a row. He's an extraordinary captain.
We're going to touch on some of the personalities in the locker room shortly, but just going back, we touched on Phil Hughes as well, and I'd just love to know the effect that whole tragedy had on you and probably the wider cricket community. Do you remember where you were when you heard the news and how it rocked you, and then even, I suppose, the effect it had in playing? Like, I remember just games after that, whenever balls were hitting anywhere kind of high or helmets or anything, the care for players at the bowler coming into the batter and actually checking on them seemed to change. Yep. So, yeah, can you remember that day?
Yeah, I do, vividly. We were playing at the time, so Hughesy was in New South Wales playing for South Australia. We were playing at the MCG against WA. And I remember coming in to the rooms at tea, and they had it on Fox Sports that Hughesy had been hit. We heard on the ground that Hughesy had been hit, but it was just at that stage, it was just an everyday occurrence. Like, guys were getting hit, we're all good, blah, blah, blah. And I saw it on the Fox Sports News, saw him on the stretcher, and it rattled me. I knew that wasn't normal. Yeah, like, that's not right. Something serious is going on here. And I didn't really know what to do or where to go with it, but we had 20 minutes and I was back out on the ground. So, right. I remember giving the captaincy away to one of the other players, because me and Aaron Finch at the time were playing in that game, and we were really close with Hughesy. We'd just been on a heap of international tours and the under-19s, academy stuff. Finchy and him lived in the same apartment, so we were really, really tight with Hughesy, and we struggled to get through that last session. It was a real struggle. So we went home. I rang Pat Howard, who was in charge of Cricket Australia at the time, and wanted to cancel the round because I knew that, something that, one, it wasn't fair for everyone to keep playing that round of cricket given what was happening, and two, I wanted to get to Sydney to see his family and hopefully get a chance to get in there and see the little fella. So yeah, it was a shocking day and a bad 3 or 4 days really. The experience was, that I knew a lot of people that were close to Hughesy and a lot of cricketers, but there was probably 50 or 60 cricketers at the hospital at that time, fully emotional, which I'll talk about. Through those times, no cricketer showed their emotion, but everybody crying, everybody trying to get around each other. It was an awful experience. I mean, the one thing it did do is it brought a lot of us closer together, and it brought conversations out about people who were struggling through that period. So people started talking a lot more. So that was the one positive that came out of it. But yeah, it was not a good week.
No.
My wife Julia, who'd been on a lot of tours with us, and they were quite tight as well. I've spoken about publicly. Hughesy's knowledge of like women's fashion was something that
I
certainly didn't expect. So they'd go for coffees and he'd be just reeling off like boutique brands, and I'm like, you're a farmer who all you talk to me about is your bulls, and you're talking to my wife about high-end fashion. So, but that was his superpower. Hughesy, he knew how to he could connect with anyone and put a smile on anyone's face. We miss him every day, but now his legacy will live on well past us, that's for sure.
It's fun hearing you say that. One thing that intrigues me is conversations that must go on, not just on the field, you having a bit of banter, but if you go out one day, you head back into the sheds, what are the conversations that are happening? That's a moment where you probably sit in the corner and you're pissed off, you've just gone out.
Yeah.
But someone in the corner is talking about something else. Yeah. What is the banter and chat like? What do you talk about all day? Oh, yes.
Yeah, there's plenty of banter and chat and dribble really. Things that don't have anything to do with anything. But yeah, it's a unique environment because there are definitely people within the change room that are going through stuff in their own head, missed out again, in bad form, blah blah blah. So it's an interesting dynamic that you've got to try and engage in the team environment, but you might be battling in your own performance, and I think that's where the bridge has certainly been, the gap's been bridged in terms of being able to speak up and guys actually looking after each other a little bit more. I mean, 15 years ago, you just throw a heap of banter and then the poor fella who's having a shocker is going back to his hotel room and crying himself to sleep. And I've been there before, don't worry about that. So, the chats are, there's nothing that you would want to hear on a podcast, trust me. But I mean,
what do you say to someone everywhere? What do you say to someone that's just gone out? Because we've always wondered this. Like, someone walks in, you storm into the pavilion, you've just gone out, and there must just be this awkward moment. Like, what do you possibly say if it's a poor innings?
Yeah, you got to read your player. I mean, I've been on both sides of it. Yeah. But usually, like, if you think you got a shocker. Yeah, and you walk in, you're blowing up. That's this, that's that. That's hit me outside the line. And then if you go to the boys who are sitting there, so here, for example, there'd be like 5 or 6 guys sitting on beanbags watching the TV screen. And if you don't get much back, you're generally like on the way to the show, like, maybe that's a bit closer than what I thought. I'm not getting much back in here from the lads. Go and have a look at it yourself and then try and justify that you're right against everyone else. So that's kind of like shield cricket is, because the vision's not as high quality, you can justify it a little bit each way to say you're having a shocker. But yeah, when you walk through and you see like 10 guys lined up, they're waiting for a blow up. So you can kind of, I know that a lot of guys follow Smudger, Steve Smith, because he just abuses himself. One of the funniest things.
That footage is incredible. Like,
he just goes off at himself. So there's a lot of that stuff. It's more, people blowing up at themselves rather than anyone really getting into anyone. But it's funny. If it's not you, it's funny anyway.
Well, obviously being a keeper, you've got to be pretty good at having a bit of chat, getting in the ear of the batsman. What, I guess, some memories that you feel like you've been able to chirp a couple out, I guess you could say.
Keepers think that they do that, but the more I think about it, I'm not convinced that any keeper's ever chatted a batter out, to be honest. There's certainly plenty of. Well, it's pretty good now, to be honest. There's not too much. It's friendly banter now. Everyone usually plays off each other. I mean, back in the day, it was just sometimes it was borderline just abusive. It was just.
Would there be strategy behind it? It's like,
sometimes
let's start here, knowing it's going to build over an hour or two.
Absolutely,
you know?
yeah. Sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean,
real mental games.
More when you get out there, it's like you get 20 minutes of.
Yeah.
If you get anywhere past 20 minutes, half an hour, people lose interest. They're like, he's in now. I'm done with the chatter. But, for example, no one spoke to me in my last 5 years of.
Really?
Yeah, I think they knew, like we spoke about, when I could get into a contest and forget about results, I could drag reasonable performance out of myself. So a lot of the time I would search for it especially when I was batting. Either search for a lip or find a bowler or so I would kind of engage a little bit more than most players. And towards the back end of my career, I found that they'd just turn their back on me and try and disengage from getting me in the contest, which worked a lot of the time, to be honest, because you lose a little bit of it. You could lose interest if you're trying to get yourself up. But yeah, there's players you stick away. There's probably more players you steer away from.
Yeah.
Like Virat is one that you would never engage in. Exact same thing. As soon as he engages in a contest, he's in for it. But yeah, I mean, there's not one specific sledge that I've heard that was like, oh, that's game changing. Usually they're all pretty bad, but yeah, it's part. Well, it was a big part of the game when I first came in, but it's a little bit more subdued now. They all play with each other. Like everyone plays with each other. You're in the same IPL franchise. They're in the same.
And there's stump mics as well.
There's stump mics. Well, yeah, you get a lot of like. I'd hate to.
Have you ever copped a fine for?
I was about to say I'd hate to think what I'm at.
Yeah.
I could ring Julia. She probably knows the dollar, but it would have to be north of 50,000.
Oh my God!
Have to be.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the stump mics can be an issue. I've been done for swearing after I've hit the ball on a stump mic. Like if I hit a bad shot, I've been done for swearing, keeping on them. So you're always kind of there. You get done. And I've had plenty of whacks that I deserve. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm innocent. That's for sure.
How do you go when, like in that moment when you're out there and you're fielding and it's a stinking hot day and you've got two set batsmen and they just don't look like they're going out? How do you actually keep the morale? Because there's blokes like Marnus who just seem to almost love that, being in the field, and they can keep chirping at that level all day. But how do you mentally get through that, or how do you get the lads up and about and try and get some kind of half a chance?
It's a struggle. It's an absolute struggle. Yeah, Marnus is a special player to be able to stay up that long when things aren't going your way. The reality is, at times you don't. Like it gets to the stage where it's just like, get me to tee. I got 2.5 hours. Get me to the end of play, and let's try and go again tomorrow. But the second new ball and stuff like that is the only thing that keeps you going on those days. Like, all right, we've got enough. Once you get to the third new ball, you're like, oh, this is done. We're no chance here. This is big trouble. So they kind of keep you engaged. But watching the bowlers, probably you could be, it could be a lot worse. It could be them. Like they're going to have to bowl 45 overs here. So that's the one advantage you got as a batter. If you're having a stinker, you're generally sitting down having a toasty and a coffee. So, there's not much that can get you through those days. A decent lunch, couple of Powerades, bit of banter. And you kind of...
I said a D. I wonder what they have for lunch. What is a decent lunch? What do they put on the spread for you?
It varies between grounds.
Does it?
But yeah, it does.
Is there a particular ground that stands out as?
Everyone says Lords. Lords is like top end, like beautiful feed. Australia, Adelaide Oval was famous when I first came in. They did this like plum chicken, which is just deep fried chicken that the boys used to love. But the dietitian's got a hold of that.
Oh,
so
no. That does make sense.
Yeah, you kind of like, you got pushed away from
the
deep
that's
fried.
naughty.
Yeah, you know that's naughty. But the undervalued thing, I think, at a ground for lunchtime or tea is like a good sandwich bar. The Wacker do a great sandwich bar. You hit this button at the Wacker and the thing comes off the top and it's got all the spreads in there. Like, because you're not always lunch is good, but you're not going to always eat at the one time. You might be batting. You're not going to go have a heap of plum chicken when you're next into bat. So there's all different times, but a decent sandwich bar, I think, is an underrated thing at a cricket ground. But yeah, we get looked after.
Do you eat with opposition? Was that
some venue? Yeah, a lot of the venues you'll be in there.
So you literally go in and
so we'll go in here. There'll be like a communal area at some grounds and then separate areas.
Right.
Sometimes there's like big sandwich bar in between both teams, but you're in the one.
Do you mingle at all?
Yeah, at times.
Really?
At times, At times you'll have a conversation with one of the oppos at lunch or whatever. Generally, it's one of the out batters and one of the batters on the other team because you're not concentrating at that time. But it's it's a different game. There's so much downtime within 5 days. It's that you've got time to engage
Yeah.
with people, and there's it's an art in itself to be able to switch off and then switch back on. But the bowlers don't get much downtime, mate. They're ice bars or massage
course,
or
yeah.
rehab and then they're bowling or batting because the batters aren't getting it done.
I know you probably get asked this a lot, Wadey, but nice Garry. That's like nice Garry is something that you've started all those years ago.
Nice, Garry!
Could you remember the day when you just shouted "Nice Garry"? You know when and it just became this phenomenon. Like I can't remember which.
There were certain balls at the MCG.
That was the set.
And then that whole what year was it when I think it might have been his second or third.
the Boxing Day
ball.
test.
I was there, and it was amazing.
Yeah, I think it was It might have been 2017 or 2018. I would assume that I've been saying it my whole career.
Yeah.
That I didn't know that I was saying it, but I'd assume I'd have been saying it. So I came back into the team it was after we got smashed by South Africa here in a test match. They basically dragged like 5 guys out of the team and brought 5 guys in. And I'd been told that I was coming back into the team because they wanted people to compete and high energy players. So I'm pretty sure another stump mic incident. I reckon that they've revved so when we fielded, the stump mics got revved up, and I didn't know I was saying it, but I was saying nice Garry. I didn't know it was a thing till obviously after play, and I think Kevin Peterson was on the commentary and he was like, "Oh, Wadey needs to shut up" or something like that. So then I think they went to the stump mic even more and turned it up. So I was like, it was coming through consistently that it kind of just got this nice Garry got picked up on it. But Gaz was having a bit of a shocker at the time. Remember, he was getting hammered he bowled like none for 220 in his last 5 or 6 tests, and he got a wicket that night with the whole nice Garry thing. And I tell him all the time, I think I changed it for him. I changed his luck, and now look at him go. So and then the next test there was this big Facebook group. I think that
was huge.
Second or third ball of his spell, they were going to yell nice Garry. He took a wicket on that ball.
That's right.
Yeah, it was massive.
So it was kind of it was a bit of a nice Garry into just like it just erupted. So it's followed me around a little bit.
Has it?
Yeah, nice Garry. Yeah, it has. But I'm remembered for nice Garry and for wearing balls off Neil Wagner. They're kind of the two things.
I was going to ask.
I
about,
tell you, they're the two things.
Do you have a bowler that I'm not saying Neil Wagner, but is there a bowler that you hate, that you have sleepless nights coming up against it? Like which one over your career do you find the most challenging to face?
Narayan.
Okay.
So Narayan. When I first went and played against him in the West Indies in 2013, it was embarrassing.
Really?
I had no idea which way he was spinning it. First game, I went forward. He just got caught first slip. I was like, I'm going to move way across my stumps and try and cover that. He bowled me around my legs the next day, and then got me LB the day after. I reckon I would have scored 10 runs in 5 years against him. He just he could embarrass me.
Yeah.
And it's a horrible feeling going to bed when you know the next day as soon as you walk out there, he's probably going to come on and he's going to embarrass you again. So
that's horrible.
Yeah, fast bowling is like, I mean, some people are different, but for me, fast bowling I could handle like 150, whatever. You kind of get knocked over with 150. People are like, wow. Like any punter thinks that's quick. Like it's hard to handle. Spin, I think everybody who doesn't play professional cricket thinks, I could hit a spinner for 6. So you're like, they almost
that's what I've thought.
Yeah. They embarrass you because you're like, everyone expects you to be able to handle spinners. And when you can't, it's a little bit more embarrassing. They can make you look stupid. So, he was a nightmare for me.
Yeah,
but the positive is he's still doing it now in the IPO and embarrassing plenty of people. So, I wasn't the first,
You're
and I
not the
certainly
only,
wasn't the last. But he was a nightmare for me.
You had obviously the pleasure of playing with the great Ricky Ponting, another fellow Tasmanian. Can you touch on Punter himself, what he was like as a leader in the dressing room throughout your career?
A little bit. I didn't get a lot of punter. He presented me my baggie in Barbados, which was a really special moment for a Tasmanian to get your baggie off the greatest player that's ever played for Australia, let alone Tasmania, was a really surreal moment. But I got him pretty much for those tests in the West Indies, and then he retired the following summer. So I didn't really get, and he wasn't captain at the time, Pup was captain. So it was kind of, I think he was trying to get a little bit more into the background and let Pup kind of take the leadership and not get in the way too much. So I didn't get a lot of him as a leader, to be honest. He was engrossed in becoming the best player he could possibly be, even at that stage. And I don't know how old he would have been then, 37, maybe 38. And I can just remember the constant work that he put into his game, and me thinking if you want to make it, you're going to have to put that amount of work in, even at the age he was, and certainly still had that presence of, you just followed him. You knew that he was going to be front of the line when the contest was coming in any scenario, even at that age. And yeah, I can understand why people would walk behind him like they did for so many years.
When you're actually in the test bubble, when you're set and and you've got a group that's pretty consistent together, you're traveling the world together. From the outside looking in, it looks like you're really, really tight knit.
Yeah.
And like maybe more how surreal it is to be part of that group that travel the world together. I don't know if you're best mates, but you're close mates hopefully, and you're in each other's pockets day in and day out. What's that lifestyle like? Just being with the boys day in and day out.
Yeah, it's fun. I didn't get it till way later on in my career. Like, I was in and out of the team. Mm-hmm. There were people missing games for homework gate when I was first in the team.
Homework gate.
There was constant move. My first 4 years probably was like, I was in out.
Yep.
Other people were in out, so I didn't really have. I mean, apart from probably Hughesy was my one constant through the first 4 or 5 years, that he was always kind of around the white ball team and the red ball team. So, and there were players retiring. It was chaos really for my first 5 years. But later, with the T20 team, from 21, we kind of had pretty much the exact same team for the next 3 World Cups, probably the next 4 years, and that was probably the first time that I was cemented really solidly into a team. And like you said, Cummins, Hazelwood, Marsh, Zampa, all these guys that I played a lot of cricket with early in my career, we all cemented our spots pretty much in that 21 World Cup team. And that team has been so much fun to be around.
Yeah.
Like getting on a plane to go on tour with that team is like smile on your face. All right, this is going to be fun. Exactly like you said, we're going to tour the world, and it's T20 games, so you get the opportunities to go out, have dinner and have a few beers together and actually enjoy it. So it was, that team is certainly the one that has been really, really special to me, and I got that feeling from that team. And I'm good mates with obviously all of those guys now, which is nice.
What else do you guys do? Do you play golf? Do you play cards? Do you play? What do you guys do in your off time?
Yeah, COVID's been the positive for cricketers because we got to take golf clubs again on tour. Yeah. So for a lot of years, golf clubs were seen as you were doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Or kind of banished from cricket tours because like you're rocking up with 2 cricket bags and a set of golf clubs. That obviously the optics there are not great. We're heading to the West Indies for
your
a
mind
test
is
tour.
elsewhere. You know,
we got our golf sticks and all this kind of stuff. It was kind of frowned upon for a long period of time until COVID, and that's all we could do within the bubble. So it was around that 2020, 2021 tours that JL was coach at the time, that kind of golf clubs were like, bring your sticks because it's our chance to get out of the hotel, and it's certainly grown legs from there now. So golf's become a big, big part of touring life, which is so good for the player. Like, I wish I had golf when I was a younger player. Like we spoke about cricket and hotel rooms and having a beer, but you're still engaged in cricket. Golf is just that one chance to get out of. I mean, my wife sums it up well. You're in this like a little bubble at times. You're on the plane together. You're on the bus. You're at the hotel. You're at the cricket ground. So you get really closed off to the rest of the world. Golf, you can just go away. You can just go out there with the boys. 6 hours, 7 hours. It take as long as you want. Really, it doesn't really matter. And kind of disengage in cricket. Throw a bit of banter. Have a beer if you want to have a beer. Whatever it is. But it's been a real positive for the current group of players to come through and really find something outside of cricket to be able to do. And there's a smaller portion of guys that don't play golf, but even then, just to have 6 hours blocked out of a training environment that you can go and do whatever you want. You can go to the beach, you can go whatever you want to do, just get away, and that's kind of your time, and you're not expected to be switched on or thinking about the game. It's been awesome.
Yeah, love it.
were you part of that squad, the whole homework gate thing?
I was,
Yeah, and because that was Mickey Arthur, wasn't it?
That was Mickey, yep.
Yeah. So in that period, I know it was only like 3 or 4 players, but as a squad member, seeing a few of your teammates kind of be punished or drilled as part of just a small little exercise that they didn't complete. Looking back now, when you talk about lifestyle balance and having balance between being a professional athlete versus also being a human being.
Yeah.
Looking back on that experience, what is a memory for you?
Firstly, I think it got blown out internally really quickly. I don't think it was. I think they were trying to set standards, and I think they were trying to have something to fall back on. And I think as a leadership and a coaching, I think no one thought that it was going to probably explode like it did. I think they were trying to do the right thing, but to miss games for Australia for a minute, not filling out your homework type of thing is obviously it's going to blow up. But I think that they were trying to do the right things. It just it wasn't executed very well at all. And it was, like I said before, that was early in my international career, and we had a lot of good players that were retiring. I remember Shane Watson went home for the birth of his child after that, and then I remember Pup missed the next game, and Wadey came back and captained the team after missing a game, and there was just so much going on at the time that it was a media absolute free-for-all, really.
Yeah, frenzy.
It was a frenzy. And I can understand both sides of the story. And I was young. I really didn't have a clue what was going on, but it felt like a harsh punishment for not doing your homework. And I know a lot of the boys were fuming that they were missing games for Australia for that, so which is fair enough. But that whole few years was interesting. But I learned a shit ton as well from going through those things, and I didn't even really have to go through it. I was injured at the time, which was probably a blessing, so I got my homework done, because otherwise I was a terrible student. I'm not sure I would have got my
But you
had
the golf clubs.
No golf clubs back in those days. No. I rolled my
Phrase,
ankle.
I got my homework done. It's just incredible. Yeah.
And it got brushed. It was perfect time for me, because I rolled my ankle. We had 7 days off playing basketball with 3 or 4 of the boys in India, and missed a test match at the time as well. So it was kind of perfect storm for me, to be honest.
We'll jump into coin spots shortly, but before we do, looking around this table, I'm sure we've seen it. You smacked a few balls over this roof. What's the biggest one? Is there one ball? I mean, probably not, but is there one ball that comes to your mind in your career where the biggest hit you've ever done that you can think of?
I remember one day here, it was a day game against Brisbane Heat. Ben Cutting bowled the first over to me, and I hit one kind of off top edge, but it went a long way over this roof. And I remember that next day, or that night, thinking, I can't wait to watch this. I'm going to have a look at that tonight. And it was when they did the fireworks.
Oh, yes.
Couldn't see it. It was smoke all over the ground. It was the only time that I really got a hold of one, and no one even spoke about it. I don't think anyone even saw it. No, it was like it never happened. So that was that was a little disappointing. But the biggest six I've ever seen is I was watching actually when Timmy hit the top of that Ninja Stadium sign in the T20 recently against India off a spinner, and it was on its way up. Which is, I've never seen a ball go close to the top of the stand down that end, and he's hit some big ones though.
Do you ever panic about, I know it's so silly, but you think about, this is a really probably morbid thought, but the amount of balls that go into the crowd, and people, again, I don't want to say it, but it feels like it's only a matter of time before someone actually eventually gets hit and hurt from it. Do you ever think about that or not?
Not at the time.
No.
But yeah, you're watching. More now as a coach when you hit your catches and you get them slightly wrong at times and they sail into the crowd like pre-match and there's people not watching. It's carnage. But the way the boys hit the ball now, it's scary. I mean, I'm lucky.
But there's a big
retired.
cracked window over there, and I said, that's got to be a boy.
It would have been one of the boys, But this is quite a big ground, and not square, but straight. It's a big ground, and the grounds are too small for the boys now.
And you played a bit of footy here earlier in your career. I mean, that was probably part of your decision. You said off air you weren't much of a footballer, but you got to be a decent footballer to play VFL. Was there probably a time early where you had to choose one or the other? Is that the way it worked?
Yeah, I never really had to make a decision. I didn't play cricket till really late. I was probably 14 when I started playing really competitive cricket. Where I grew up, we never had a local cricket club. We had obviously a football club, but it was more like a school thing that I did. I didn't really care too much about it, but it was a second choice for me. I wanted to play footy. I didn't really take cricket seriously till I came up here and played for Clarence. This used to be their home ground. So I came up here and that was at age 14 or 15 when I really started drilling in. So there was not really a decision. I was all in on footy. I loved footy. My old man played 350 local games, played for Hawthorn, and we're a footy family. Most of my childhood is at this ground, Tuesday, Thursday nights, running water for Dad, or Jack Rewalt's dad played in the same team as my old man, so he was here this was kind of where I grew up. There used to be terrace stands all around here, and I just remember we used to walk underneath the terrace stands all the time. People would drop like $5, $10. You'd be able to find your way and get back to the shop and grab something. So, I was all in on footy, and probably until I got testicular cancer when I was 16. Got diagnosed with testicular cancer, and that kind of put a halt to footy and cricket at the time. And that was probably the time that I needed to be really going as a footy player, like 16, 17, the big development years. And I was obviously tracking the other way with going through what I was going. So that probably put a stall to me ever really having a chance. And it changed my mindset as well. I just wanted to play local footy at that time. I wasn't really too keen on doing the Mariners stuff, which was the TAT Cup side of it, and then VFL came later. But I was just playing local footy by then. I just wanted to have a bit of a kick with my mates and have a bit more fun rather than trying to make it a career.
Pretty tough thing to go through at 16. How did you find that out?
I must have got like a heel into the area when I was playing footy, and I remember it just being sore for maybe a week and a half. I don't know why, but I mentioned it to mum, which at that age is not something that you're really going to bring up to your parents. I don't know how that conversation came up. Mum was just like, we'll just go down and get it checked at the local clinic, where I grew up. My auntie and my nan were like basically ran the clinic down there, so we just popped in and saw the doctor. I just thought I'd be in and out. And that day, as soon as he kind of examined me, he sent me straight up to town to get it looked at, ultrasound, and by the end of the day, they found that I had a tumour on it, and I needed to get it removed firstly, and then that probably took a week, that whole process, and then I thought that would be it. Like, got it removed, got it done, all good, I'll be back playing or back into what I'm doing in the next week. And then the reality probably hit then that I had to have chemotherapy, which I had not a clue about at that age. I hadn't even thought about it. 16 years of age, was going to lose all my hair. That's probably the time that it hit home, and I was like, oh, this is serious. Before that, it was kind of, I didn't really know what I was dealing with. So I've spoken about it before. I'm like, as a dad now, I know like my parents would have carried a lot of that for those few months, probably 6 months until I'd been cleared fully. But that was probably, I can appreciate what they were going through now that I've got kids on my own, and I was probably young enough to be naive enough to not have to really worry about the long-term consequences of it. But I could only imagine what my mum and my dad, my sisters would have had to go through to watch me go through that for that period of time. But it was now looking back on it, it's an extremely valuable life lesson at that age to be able to go through. And cricket and footy it just ended up being a game for me at that stage.
Well, I mean, we were talking before, you do a bit of work with the Ponting Foundation, so it seems like there's been a really positive kind of flow and effect from that experience. But does it affect you at all negatively to this day?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
So I had 6 months checkups for the first year, and then it went to 12-month checkups for the next 2 years, and I got cleared fully of anything there. So no, I've had, touch wood, I've had obviously no issues from that point onwards. But again, when we talk about the mental health side of things, that was probably a great life lesson for me early on in my life, and I think it probably showed. I speak about it publicly now for that exact reason, that, just to make people aware that things like this do happen. And I think females have got a lot better at this side of breast cancer and all that kind of thing, and I think the males are taking steps in the right direction. So just to be a voice and for people to hear my story might help one or two people along the way, which is what it's all about.
Well, thank God you got a kick.
Yeah, absolutely.
To the area,
yeah, blessing in disguise.
Yeah, it would have hurt, but it was worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're right. You don't know how long that's going to go for. Without, as a young man, you're not really going to be checking around those areas too much. But you need to be.
Yeah. All right, the Coin Spot Hot Seat D. Wadey's gonna be sitting there. He's ready to go. But we have to say thanks to Coin Spot, the best and easiest place to buy, sell and trade all your cryptocurrencies.
It's very, very easy. There's over 500 cryptocurrencies on CoinSpot. You can get involved for as little as $1, DOS, which with Bitcoin, nice little buying rate at the moment. I reckon it's a nice time to sign up to CoinSpot. So
download the app.
Download the app, check out the website, all the good stuff. I'll give you the question for
thank you.
Wadey today.
All right.
So we'll hit the sound now.
Okay, Wadey. So who are you most scared of when they lose their wicket cheaply? Was it A, Davey Warner, B, Steve Smith, C, Shane Watson, or D, Ricky Ponting?
Shane Watson.
Really?
We nearly didn't put him in as well.
Yeah.
No, Shane Watson, yeah.
So you're going to lock in C, Shane Watson?
Yeah.
Locking in C.
I think so, yeah. The other guys, a bit funny, like Smudge is a bit funny. Nothing's really going to happen. I didn't see Ricky. Apparently Ricky was really good blow-ups. Didn't see too many of them, but Watto's...
Do you have any examples for us of what Watto would do?
Oh, he's a big unit.
big guy.
Big unit, yeah, big unit and like aggressive, some aggressive blow-ups, yeah. So I wouldn't be... No, I'm not keen to be in the rooms when...
Get out of his way.
Especially if he referred it, that would have been... If he referred it and
Well, he was
smashing
notorious
middle.
for the referral.
He was smashing middle and he comes in and, he could have some blow-ups, but yeah, no.
Was he one that always felt he was stiff? Was he?
I didn't
Based
play
on the
with him long
referral.
enough to really
Okay.
know that
Yeah.
much, but
Okay.
yeah, he's a intimidating bloke, so
Yeah.
I would clear the rooms for Watto, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Probably Watto and Punter in those two, I'd clear the rooms for. The other guys you can deal with.
Have you ever thrown a bat, or are you? what,
My younger days, I was a shocker. Yeah.
really? Yeah.
Yeah, probably the first 10 years I was
Just equipment everywhere, or what would
equipment everywhere. I've ruined a few things, had to pay for a few things.
be? So on top
Way
of the
too many,
50
yeah.
grand plus of
Yeah.
the
Oh,
stuff,
yeah,
like
plus
you've had
the
to pay for.
equipment
Oh
values.
Yeah.
gosh, Wade,
Yeah,
you've given up.
my Victoria days, I was not good. But I
Really?
learned from some of the best. Like Hodge was one of the best I've ever seen. He was,
Really?
good. And MCG's a big change room, so you can get away with it
Yeah.
a little bit. You can throw enough stuff that you're not going to harm anyone.
Doesn't stick out. Yeah.
Nah, but back here, I've been somewhat good back here. I haven't had
bit
any,
more
I haven't had to
behaved.
pay for anything back here, which has been
Oh, that's
positive.
good.
Yeah,
That's good.
so yeah.
Did
young
you like
guys.
to be left alone, like in those situations?
I think people knew to leave me. alone.
Yeah.
yeah. No, I wasn't.
It was like it was
I
written
wasn't.
on your forehead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I got it out, and then I was okay.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't drag it on for the rest of the day. But yeah, I was aggressive.
One of my sorry.
I was just going to say that. Does it affect your mood for days? Like I'm thinking of, like a tennis player who might lose second round of a
Yeah.
Grand Slam. Again, like you said earlier, they don't get an opportunity to, I guess what's the word? Not
Redeem.
yeah, redeem. But does it sting for a couple of days after, or is it just kind of
Yeah,
evaporate?
it depends. Like if you miss out twice in a game where people are loading up with runs or whatever, it can sting a little bit. I remember like early days, like not outs, that used to sting. Like when you were coming at the end of the year, you wouldn't even think about it at the time. At the end of the year, you like averaged 25, and you've been out 3 times as the last wicket in a game. You're like, you idiot. But no, it's like, it hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts for a period of time. But the next generation of players are so much better than what we were. One, because they get opportunities every minute, so they play so many games a year that they don't have a chance to really get down on themselves. We would have, when I first started with Victoria, I'd be lucky. Sometimes I'd have, 3 hits in 3 weeks because our batters were that good. I was batting at 7. You're lucky if you miss out, then you're like,
Yeah, that would sting.
oh no, that stings. I'm not going to get another hit for ages.
Yeah.
Whereas these young kids now, they batting every minute in a game. They don't barely train, but yeah.
Well,
you
one
can
of
go.
my favourite things about you, Wadey, is this last BBL season, you looked very jovial in the field and very happy, and but the seasons before, it's like if the throws from the outfield were coming in, they weren't spot on. The death stares you'd give to your teammates were classic, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to deal with it. That made me more nervous. The young player coming in and they're gonna have to. That's gone. I'm gonna have to deal with Wadey. Yeah.
Mate. Well, thank you so much, mate. This has been absolute, for us, just a huge honour to be able to sit down with you, mate. So thank you so much for putting this time aside. But we do have a few goodies for us, as we do in our Melbourne studio. So Bryce is going to bring out, we've travelled a bit lighter today, but first we've got the Milkman DOS.
Milkman Australia, Wadey, all things male grooming.
Love that.
Unzip that because
Okay, let's see what
there's
we got.
plenty of product in there. So I think you've got some
Okay.
natural deodorant, which I'm all about. The no nasties, so no aluminium.
Okay.
It's all clean,
There's a
good
cologne
stuff.
for you, King of
And then a
Wood,
bit
yeah.
of bit of parfum, which
Thank
will
you.
spray nicely.
The nice travel bag when, he's travelling.
True, that'll fit nicely in the cricket
that's
bag.
that is a nice
Head to
little bag.
milkmanaustralia.com. Use the code dos&d, 20% off at checkout. Everyone listening or watching.
Yes, Bryce, just bring out that next. So we've got the dos&d tote bag inside there, mate, courtesy of our good friends at Golf Clearance Outlet. Now we know you love a bit of golf.
Oh yeah,
Perfect.
Clutch
yes.
and Co have come to the party. There's a hat in there, some socks
at
in there,
this.
some balls for you, mate. The team at Golf Clearance Outlet, DOS, the biggest brands at lowest prices we are. And Wadey's a bit unlucky because back in Melbourne, Wadey, all our guests after the show, do a chipping challenge.
Ah.
And they'd play for a really big prize where if they win at the end of the season, they'll go into the store and just take whatever they want off the shelf. The Golf Clearance Outlet, the biggest brands, lowest price. You always get a bargain there,
You do.
Dos. And then maybe tell Wadey about Freddie's and...
Oh yeah,
sandwiches.
Freddie's Pizzeria in Melbourne, the best gourmet pizzas, all things Italian, on Chapel Street in Prahran. We go there all the time, but normally in the studio we bring out a nice hot pizza for you. You take it home and share it with the kids. But mate, whenever you're in Melbourne, let us know and we'll send you there on behalf of the crew.
I will, don't worry
There's
about
a
that.
voucher for you, mate. They'll look after you and the whole fam, mate, for a night of pizza and wine. So we'll send that to you via email. But mate, just our little way of saying thank you. We really, really appreciate your time, mate. It's a like I said, been so excited for this and a huge honour to chat with you. So thank you for entertaining us for all these years, mate, and thank you for giving us some time today.
No worries. Thank you for coming down. Appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning into the dos&d show. We love your support. We appreciate you being here. Hope you enjoyed it. But we need to say thank you to Golf Clearance Outlet.
Yes, we do. Now, Dos, you've been playing a bit of golf lately, and you guys would have seen us at the chipping challenge. Actually, roll that footage quickly. Just show a little bit of us chipping. There you go.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, that's nice.
I hope it's something good because I can't see anything right now, but I'm sure it'll be nice. Yeah, I have been playing a little bit of golf.
Yes.
It's nice when you get invited to a couple of golf days.
Yes.
Because
But the lunches are free.
lunches are free. It's a day off work, or not really, but
We're networking.
it's always great networking. But I'm learning.
Yes.
I'm learning to play golf, but I still want to look the part. I still want to fit within my budget as well when I'm buying some of these new golf gear or equipment, apparel. And I went straight to GCO because they stock the biggest brands at the lowest prices.
That's a key point. I'm going to say it again. The biggest brands at the lowest prices. Just let that sink in. So if you're like Dos and you're kind of starting to get into it, or if you're a bit like me and you can hit a ball or two,
Excuse
and you
me?
do you want to upgrade your driver at a bargain price with all the biggest brands, GCO is the place to go. Now, there are 9 stores, as Dos mentioned, or you can shop online, golfclearanceoutlet.com.au. Find yourself a bargain today. Now, we're about halfway through now the Golf Clearance Outlet Chipping Challenge. Paul Connors is the clubhouse leader. Looking at the guests that are coming up for the rest of the year, do you see him getting overtaken just for a little bit of fun?
No, not really. I think
he's got a winning score.
They call him Jake. I think Jake is actually going to be sitting at the top. There's been a couple of little jabs at him because, there's no surprise that he's at the top because he's a player agent and that's what they do best, play golf with their clients. So...
stay tuned.
I don't know. We'll wait and see.
We'll wait and see. But guys, check out Golf Clearance Outlet and thank you to those wonderful guys and the team there for helping us out.